I'm on a mission to find the best yarns from craft stores and yarn companies around the globe. And today I'm reviewing 11 new yarns from Michaels. 3 of them are actually brand new to Michaels and the rest of them are new to me, so I'm still super excited. So grab your favorite crochet hook, your current whip, maybe get a little coffee, a little tea, and I'm going to take you back in time so that you can shop with me at Michaels. Isn't technology amazing? I cannot wait to see what we find today. It's always a good day to go to a craft store. I am so excited about the yarns I got. Oh my goodness, there are so many pretty ones. And did I come home with a fall wreath? It's still August, it's 80 something degrees outside, and I don't even know how high the humidity is. Yes, I did. There she is. Isn't she gorgeous? I'm obsessed. I love that it's fall, but it also has some pink colors in it. Perfect for my craft room. The first yarn that we're going to be testing is Michaels' own house brand, and it's Loops and Threads, and this is their brand new Cozy Cub. This is a super bulky chenille yarn and it feels so incredibly soft and squishy. It's marketed for plushies, blankets, home decor, scarves, anything soft and cuddly. But let's see if it lives up to the hype. But here's what makes this yarn interesting. This is a remake of the Big Twist Baby Bear, which was an incredibly popular yarn for amigurumi makers. And Michaels claims that this is the exact same yarn, just under a different label. I don't have any experience with the Big Twist Baby Bear, so I'm just going to be testing Cozy Cub on its own merits. Full price, this yarn is $9.99. It's a number 6 bulky weight yarn and it's 100% polyester and comes in 15 colors currently. On Michaels.com, it has an average of 4.8 stars and 170 reviews, so let's test this one out. One thing that I went ahead and did was started a larger swatch. The reason is, normally during a test, I would just open up the yarn and start, and I started to feel like that I didn't have enough information and that I actually needed to make something larger. It just gives me a lot more information and helps me to be able to judge the yarn better. This feels like a very nice chenille. The thing that is impressing me is that it's not shedding at all. That can be a real problem with chenille yarns, and so far I haven't had any shedding at all. But one of the biggest things that you have to worry about with chenille is whether or not it will frog if you can rip it back, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to frog this, not the entire thing, but enough that we can actually see if it's going to shed. But before we do that, I want to look at these stitches. It does have some decent stitch definition. It feels super soft. Let's go ahead and see what happens when we frog it. I'm not seeing any shedding. That is pretty impressive so far. And it's also not catching on itself. Yeah, and looking at this strand, I don't see any shedding. That is fantastic. There are so many crocheters out there that love chenille yarns, and they're personally not my favorite, but I was impressed with this yarn. I was impressed with the quality. I was impressed with how it felt, but most of all, I was impressed that it didn't shed at all. If you're enjoying today's video, make sure to sign up for my weekly-ish newsletter. It's the first place I share important news, behind-the-scenes projects, sneak peeks to new designs, and anything extra that doesn't make it into the videos. It's cozy, low pressure, totally free, and I would love for you to be a part of it. I'll leave a link to the sign up in the description box below. The next yarn that we're going to test is Loops and Threads Soft Ombre. It's designed for things like blankets, hats, shawls, and other other lightweight accessories. And because of the dye process, each skein is just a little bit different, and it really is beautiful. This is a number 3 lightweight yarn, also known as DK weight, and it retails for $7.99. It's 75% polyester, 25% acrylic, and it currently comes in 12 different colorways. And the average rating is 4.7 stars, and it has 111 reviews. And I have the colorway that's just called orange, pink, blue. And you can see those colors here. It really is pretty. So let's test it out. The softness of this yarn actually really surprises me. Yes, it says it's a soft ombre, but it really is incredibly soft. It also has a little bit of a heathered look to it, which I love. And I also like that it really has a stretchy feel. I could see this being so wonderful for garments. One thing to note is that this is so incredibly soft that I could see a beginner maybe feeling a little bit frustrated. I'm using the Clover Amour hook, which is a fairly smooth hook, but it really is a little bit slippery. So if you're a beginner, this one could frustrate you just because it's so soft. You can see that it has some decent stitch definition, but it purposefully has this beautiful halo. Oh wow, isn't that beautiful? Oh my goodness. And look at the stretch. This is what's really nice about this yarn, especially for a garment, is that this has some stretch. It really does feel nice, but let's see how it frogs. I'm not having any issues at all. I love when a yarn surprises me, and this one definitely did. It just made me want to keep working with it. I actually didn't want to stop. I just wanted to keep crocheting. This would be the type of yarn that I would want to make a sweater or a cardigan or a cowl or a scarf, something that would be against my skin because it just feels so nice, and I love these colors. They are absolutely gorgeous. I think a lot of people would like this yarn, and I also think that because it's a DK weight, you're going to find a lot of garment patterns that you'll be able to use this yarn for. You could also make a blanket with it because it is so soft, it's so cozy, and it just makes you want to pick up your crochet hook. This next yarn is one that I am so excited to try out, and it's Made with Love, the cottony one. This yarn is a collaboration between Lion Brand and Tom Daley. Now, if you're not familiar with Tom Daley, he is the British Olympic gold medalist in diving, but he has also made a big splash in the world of crocheting and knitting. He went viral for knitting poolside during the Tokyo Olympics. And since then, he has launched his own yarn line as well as published so many amazing patterns. This yarn retails for $8.99 and it's 60% cotton, 40% acrylic. I love a cotton blend yarn. It's also a number 4 medium weight or worsted weight yarn, and it currently comes in 17 different colors. And it averages 4.7 stars with 439 reviews. I'm using the recommended hook size of 5 millimeters, and I've mentioned that I love cotton blends, and that's because I love the look of cotton. I just don't love how it feels. Cotton can be a little tough on my hands. I can get really sore, and that's why I love when a cotton yarn is a cotton blend and it has that bit of acrylic. And I have to be honest, I absolutely love this yarn. I love how it feels. I love how it looks. I love that crisp stitch definition that you get with cotton. Oh my goodness. It does have a softness to it, which I actually really like. And it does have a little bit of stretch because it does have that 40% acrylic in there. And let's see how it frogs. Oh, it's perfect. Perfect. If you couldn't tell, I loved working with this yarn. I love a cotton blend, and when it's done right, it is absolute perfection. I actually went onto the Lion Brand website because I wanted to see if they had any patterns featuring this yarn, and it did not disappoint. I found so many different ones, from wearables to home decor, and I just love that granny ripple blanket. That one is just such a classic. It looks fantastic, and I love how they paired it with those 2 pillows. This yarn is so versatile because it's a worsted weight, because it's that cotton blend. It comes in so many gorgeous colors, and I really think it's going to appeal to a lot of people. The next yarn we're going to test is another one from Loops and Threads, and this is the Silky Soft, and this is a rayon made from bamboo. Right off the bat, it feels incredibly soft and cool to the touch. It really does feel nice. And it's supposed to be perfect for lightweight wearables like wraps, tops, and accessories. It's a number 3 lightweight DK yarn, and it retails for $6.99. It's 100% rayon from bamboo, and it comes in 21 different colors. And on the Michaels website, it has an average of 4.6 stars and 849 reviews. Right off the bat, this is one of the softest yarns I've ever used, and I don't necessarily mean that in a good way. I would actually call this slippery. One of the things that I really notice about this yarn is it's incredibly smooth. It has that sheen to it. And what that's going to mean for crocheters is that your tension better be perfect, because this is the kind of yarn that is going to show every mistake, every stitch that is slightly bigger or smaller than all the other ones. It really is not going to be forgiving at all. It's also a tad bit splitty. Not super splitty, but it has split a few times while working with it. I think a beginner would possibly really have a tough time with this yarn because of how soft it is and that slipperiness. I don't think I would want to use this yarn just because it is splitting a little bit. It will show every single mistake. This one just really isn't my favorite, to be honest. It does have gorgeous stitch definition. It's got some stretch to it, and it looks like it's going to drape very well, especially for wearables. I still think that this yarn has some issues that I personally wouldn't want to work with, but let's see how it frogs. Yeah, it frogs extremely easily, almost to the point where it might frog a little too easily. There's no grip at all with this yarn, which I think could be tricky, especially if you're a beginner. Okay, come on. Come on, let's go. There he goes. I think that you could make some beautiful projects with this yarn. I have zero doubts. The issue for me is that I personally would not enjoy using this yarn because of all the reasons we discussed. It's just too slippery. It's too splitty. It would require me to make sure that my stitches and my tension are perfect, and that's too much work for me. But I do think that it would make a beautiful drapey garment. You can even see it just sitting on my finger like this. It's just draping over. And that really is ideal for making a sweater, a scarf, things like that. But this would not be my preference. It might be yours, but just know what you're going into if you choose to use this yarn. I'm always excited to test out new yarns because half the fun is imagining all the projects they could become. But picking out the yarn is just the first step. The real magic happens when you know how to turn it into something beautiful. And that's where today's sponsor, Creative Crochet Corner, comes in. They've got thousands of video classes for every skill level, from absolute beginner to advanced crocheters. And they have plenty of inspiration for making the most out of the yarn you already have. One class I love is called It's the Little Things Bag by Brenda KB Anderson. In this live class, she shows you how to take your leftover yarn scraps and turn them into a colorful, sturdy bag you'll use for years. It's a great way to turn what might otherwise go to waste into something beautiful and useful. And it works with almost any yarn you already have in your stash. And if you're feeling inspired by some of the yarns that I'm testing today, you'll also find classes about color work, stitch technique, and pattern reading so you can get the most out of your new skeins. The best part is that the first 1,000 of my subscribers to click the link in the description box will get a full year of premium membership for only $1.49. That's unlimited unlimited access to every class, project, and live events where you can get questions answered in real time. So whether you're working with brand new yarn or scraps from your stash, Creative Crochet Corner can help you make something you truly love. Thank you so much to Creative Crochet Corner for sponsoring today's video. Next up is another Loops and Threads yarn, and this one is Heathered Tweed. It's a lightweight polyester blend that has a classic tweed effect, and it gives it that rustic, cozy vibe. And it might be perfect for throw blankets, for garments, for anything where you want that timeless textured look. This is a number 3 lightweight DK yarn, and it retails for $7.99. It's 66% polyester, 30% acrylic, and 4% wool, and it comes in 21 different colors. And on Michaels.com, it has an average of 4.6 stars with over 520 reviews. So let's put it to the test. I do love that heathered look when it comes to yarn. This is a very pretty color. It also has a bit of a halo, which is really pretty. It's not super soft, but it's also not rough, but it does have that rustic sort of a feel. This does feel like it has more wool in it than it does. It only has 4% wool, and that just kind of boggles my mind just a little bit because it feels woolly. But let's see how this frogs. Okay. It's frogging okay, but I'm going slow. I can tell it's getting caught on those little fibers that are sticking out. Yeah, it is definitely having a little bit of issues. Not terrible. See, this one doesn't even really want to come out. You have to kind of pick those fibers apart. So if you are going to use this yarn and you need to frog, which pretty much every project you're going to need to frog something, just do one stitch at a time and just go slowly. Some stitches are frogging easier than others. It does have some stitch definition, but I think the point of this yarn is to have that beautiful halo. It's a softer look, and I do think it's very pretty. Now, this was a very interesting yarn, and I think that there are going to be a lot of people who like it, and then I think there are going to be a lot of people who don't like it, and the reason for that is going to be because it's a little trickier to frog. I think what is sort of blowing my mind away is that this is mostly polyester and acrylic with a very small bit of wool, but it doesn't have the feel of a polyester acrylic blend yarn. Most of those are quite soft. This doesn't feel like that, and I'm assuming that that's on purpose so that it really does have that rustic, that more natural vibe. I am so excited to try this next yarn, and this is Loops and Threads Posh Pearl. This is another Joanne yarn that has been relabeled. This was Big Twist Posh. I never got a chance to try Big Twist Posh, which was very popular amongst amigurumi and plushie makers. This is a number 5 bulky weight yarn, and it retails for $9.99. It's 100% polyester, and it comes in 9 different colors. And on Michaels.com, it has an average of 4.7 stars and 97 reviews. I'm using the recommended crochet hook size, which is an 8mm. Right off the bat, I am not noticing any shedding, and I think for a chenille yarn, that is a huge plus. Shedding is something that I just do not like to tolerate when it comes to chenilles, and I haven't seen one tiny little bit. Now, this yarn definitely feels different than what I was expecting. I thought this was going to feel a lot more like the Cozy Cub, but it doesn't feel like it at all. In fact, I'm not sure that this feels like most of the other chenille yarns that I have tried in the past. It feels like it has more texture, and I'm going to get out our Cozy Cub swatch because I do want to see if there is a difference in the stitch definition, but this doesn't feel the same. I also think that it's super important that you've got a hook that will glide through this because it does feel a little bit grippy, which is really interesting. I've never experienced that with a chenille before. I do kind of like that it has this stitch definition in here. You can really see your stitches, and that's another thing that can be really tricky with chenille, especially for beginners if you can't see your stitches. I feel like with this one you can actually see where you need to put your hook, which is which I think is great. Now, I have zero clue how this compares to the original Big Twist Posh. So if you have tried the original and you've tried this one, I would love to hear from you. Do you see that gorgeous texture and all that stitch definition? That is amazing for a chenille. This is the Cozy Cub, and I think you can really tell how they are different when it comes to that stitch definition. There really isn't a lot here, and over here you can just see the stitches so well. Now the big question is, how is this going to frog? It definitely has a little bit of a grip to it. I actually kind of like that with this chenille. I'm also not seeing any shedding at all, which is so nice. This is why I love testing yarns. Posh Pearl was not what I was expecting. I really thought that it was just going to be like the other chenille yarns that I have tested in the past. Those yarns tend to glide off the hook very easily, and there's not much stitch definition. This yarn is a little more grippy. It's a little more textured. You can see those stitches, and it also is not gliding off the hook like other chenilles that I've tried. So I do think there are going to be a lot of people who really enjoy using this yarn, especially for crocheting amigurumi and plushies. The only thing that I think is a drawback at this point is that there are only 9 colors, and hopefully they're going to add to that over time, and hopefully someday they're going to have an entire range of colors, because I think as amigurumi makers, we love to have all of those different colors. It'll be interesting to see what happens with this yarn in the near future. Next up is Feels Like a Dream by Lion Brand. This is a new yarn at Michael's, and it's super textured. It's so squishy and soft, and I am very curious how it's going to behave when trying to crochet with it. It's a number 5 bulky weight yarn, and it retails for $8.99. It's 100% nylon, and it comes in 14 different colors, and it has an average of 4.9 stars, but there are only 8 reviews because it's pretty new, so let's test it out. This yarn is incredibly soft, almost too soft. You also cannot see your stitches really at all. I don't even know where I'm putting the crochet hook at this point. Just stabbing it in a spot that looks like it might be a stitch. I could see this being used for scarves, possibly amigurumi. I do like how it feels, but you can see that there's 0 stitch definition. It definitely has some nice stretch, but you can't see your stitches. You could kind of feel them a little bit. I think that this yarn would be a lot better for knitters, because with knitting, those stitches stay on the needle, and so it's very easy to see where your next stitch is. But I think for crocheters, this is just going to be so frustrating. I could feel my blood pressure going up as I was trying to work into the chain of this, because I could not see what I was doing. I had no idea if my chain was getting twisted. That could definitely be a personality trait that I don't like, not knowing what's going on. Just blindly crocheting. And so if that doesn't bother you, then you might like this yarn. But let's see how it frogs. The good news is it doesn't have any trouble being frogged. That's the good news. I'll be 51 later this month, and this yarn, it made me feel every single one of those years. And the reason is because I was sitting here working with it and feeling like this was not made for someone who is a little more mature, a little older. I can't see anything. I'm feeling frustrated because I have no idea where I'm putting that crochet hook. So I don't know if this is just because I am in a certain stage of life and I have very little patience for things, or if it's because this really is better for younger people, maybe people that have a different personality type than I do and can tolerate things like this, or maybe it really is going to be a better yarn for knitters. This is going to be a no for me. I will never use this yarn. I do think it's really pretty and it is super soft, and I do think that there will be some people who absolutely love working with it, but it's not going to be this guy. This next yarn is the cousin of the last yarn. This is Lion Brand Feels Like Bliss. Wish me luck. This is also another very textured, soft yarn, and it does feel a little bit different than the last one, and I am hoping that it is different than the last one. This is a number 5 bulky weight yarn, and it retails for $8.99. It's 100% nylon, and it comes in 14 different colors. But it has an average of 4.8 stars and almost 390 reviews. So let's test it out. Thank goodness this yarn feels like bliss. Does not feel anything like feels like a dream. This is a much easier yarn to work with. You can actually sort of see your stitches, but more than that, you can feel them. And it creates this super stretchy, fuzzy, soft fabric that is just, it's so much fun. It also doesn't shed, which is really nice, but it has that adorable little fuzzy halo going on. I think this could be really fun for making little amigurumi toys, or maybe even like a little scarf or something like that, or even home decor items. The yarn itself is super stretchy, and it feels so good in my hands. This is an incredibly stretchy texture. It is just wonderful. This really does feel nice, but let's see how it frogs. No issues at all. After using this yarn, I can see why it has such a high rating and so many reviews. This was so much fun to work with. And one thing that's really interesting about this yarn is that it was made with a chainette construction. So the strand is not like a normal strand. It's not a plied yarn. It is a chainette, which means it's a crocheted or a knit tube, and it is more like an I-cord. I think that's why this yarn works so well, why you're able to sort of see your stitches and you can definitely feel them. And that makes this one so much easier to work with than the Feels Like Dream. I would love to crochet an amigurumi pig with this yarn because it's the perfect color and it just was so much fun to work with. Next up is another new yarn from Michaels, and it's Sweet Snuggles Light. This is the lighter version of their popular Sweet Snuggles brand, and it's also a number 6 bulky weight yarn. It retails for $9.99 and it's 100% polyester. It comes in 6 colors and it has an average rating of 4.7 stars. I'm excited to test this one out. Right off the bat, this feels a lot more like a standard chenille, like other ones that I've tried in the past. It's super soft. I love these gorgeous colors. I think that's really pretty. I'm able to see where to place my stitches, which I actually like in a chenille. I have noticed a tiny little bit of shedding. Not a lot, but it is there compared to the other chenilles that we've already tested. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens when we frog this one. I always feel like that's the biggest test when it comes to a chenille. What happens when you rip out those stitches? It doesn't have a lot of stitch definition, but that's okay. You don't always want that for a project, but it is very, very soft. So let's see what happens when we rip it out. I'm not noticing any shedding, and it's frogging just fine. This is a nice chenille yarn. It is comparable to a lot of other chenilles that I have tried in the past. I mentioned that there are 6 colors. Now that means that there are 6 solid colors, but there are also 6 of the blossom colors, which is what I have. Next up is Luxe Merino by Loops and Threads. And this is such a gorgeous color. This is called Chalk Blue. This is just one of my favorite shades. Oh, I love it. This is 55% superwash merino, 45% acrylic. It retails for $9.99 and it's a number 3 light DK weight yarn. It comes in 14 colors and it has an average of 4.8 stars and 568 reviews. Now the name of this yarn is Luxe Merino. I believe that the word luxe means luxurious, and that's not what I'm getting. I'm getting basic merino acrylic blend. There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing bad about it. There's just nothing super special about it. This is definitely not luxe in my opinion. I think it's a pretty average wool blend. It's not super soft. It's not rough. and maybe it would soften up with some wear and some use. I think it's okay. It's just fine. It does have nice stitch definition, which I think is nice. I do think that color is very pretty. And let's see how it frogs. It frogs great. This is the 4th time I've tried to film this clip, and it's because I'm having such a difficult time expressing how I feel about this yarn. This yarn is fine. It's just fine. It's not amazing. It's not bad. It's just fine. And I think my hang up is the name of this yarn is Luxe Merino. And in my mind, if you're calling something luxe, I'm thinking luxurious. This is going to be amazing. And this yarn is just okay. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. Just know that if you want to purchase this yarn, just know you're not going to be wowed, but you're also not going to be upset about it. It's just fine. Maybe that's what they should have done. They should have called this yarn Just Fine Merino. And then I would have been okay. This next yarn is one that I have been so excited to try, and it's the Bernat Blanket Patchwork. When I was walking through the aisles of Michael's, this immediately stuck out to me, and I thought, look at those gorgeous colors. This is the colorway Tropical Splash, and I just love these warm tropical colors. They are absolutely gorgeous. This is a number 6 super bulky 100% polyester yarn. It retails for $12.99 and it comes in 6 different colorways. And it has an average of 4.9 stars, but it only has 38 reviews. So we're gonna test it out for ourselves. I am enjoying this so much. There is so much to like about Bernat Blanket, but what I think is really fun about this one in particular is these colors. I'm so excited about the color change, and I think that's the true beauty of this yarn, is that you just want to keep crocheting because you want to see that color change happen. And these really are absolutely gorgeous colors. This yarn feels so nice in my hands. I can see where to put my crochet hook. And this is just a delight to work with. It's so much fun. I'm also not getting any shedding, which is always a good thing. We don't have a lot of stitch definition going on here, but that's okay. It doesn't need to be. The point is for it to be soft and squishy and just oh so wonderful to hold in your hands. But let's see how it frogs. No problems. I'm not seeing any shedding either, which is a really good thing. One thing that I absolutely love about this yarn is that it's that patchwork color change, and it's giving that handmade, rusticy, homemade vibe, and I think that's exactly what they were going for. This is the kind of yarn that is absolutely perfect when you need a mindless crochet project, and I'm a huge fan of mindless crochet projects. Those are the kind of crochet projects when you just want to check out, you don't want to have to think, you don't want to have to worry about what colors to choose because they're already chosen for you. I just want to keep crocheting with this. I hope you enjoyed today's video and testing out these 11 different yarns from Michael's. There were several that I thought were amazing, a few that I really didn't like, but I would love to know what your experience is with each one of these yarns. Did we agree? Do we like the same yarns? Do we not like the same yarns? Or do you have a completely different opinion? I would love to know, so please share them in the comments below. But I hope you have a great rest of your week. Stay safe and happy stitching.